You tell them, yes, it's still about hope. It is still about change.
There are going to be bumps in the road.
What difference at this point does it make?
If you like your health care plan, you'll be able to keep your health care plan.
They're not listening to the concerns of their constituents.
You can't change Washington from the inside.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction.
You place your hand on his Bible.
Welcome to the Friddle Show. I am Crystal Heath, but you can call me Friddle. Thank you for taking the time to join us this evening. Write down our toll-free telephone number. It is 877-297-8022. If you're on Twitter, just use the hashtag AskFriddle. Send me a tweet. I'll answer and read those later on the show. If you're on Facebook, you can comment on my posts there. It's the Friddle on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, just everywhere. You can find me at the Friddle. Sean Hannity's hair is going to join us tonight. We're going to be talking with him about the Benghazi emails, the Nigerian girls that are missing, a whole bunch of stuff. But I just got back, literally, wow, I feel weird saying the word literally now. Joe Biden has pretty much ruined that word for me. But anyway, I literally just got back from an event here in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, where we were attempting to set a world record for the most consecutive high fives. And there were rules. There was an official Guinness Records guy there in his cool little suit and awesome British accent. And high fives, they had to be above your ear level. It had to make an audible sound. There were all these rules. It was really fun. A great event. It was hosted by the United Way. They're trying to raise awareness about child literacy. Basically, it was a high fives on 5-5. Trying to raise $5, which they're going to use to put 2 books in, give 2 books to every kid in Lancaster County is their goal. Bottom line is, unfortunately, we did not break the world record. We are apparently second, though. The record, I think, is 1,100 consecutive high fives by different people, and we were somewhere in the high 700s and have the American record on high fives. So, there you go. Little fun fact. If you saw my tweet with the balloons and stuff, that was after the event, and it was just a good time. Best of luck to the United Way with that. It's a great cause. All right, moving on. There have been a lot of stories this past week about a decision made by the Pennsylvania Supreme Court regarding the warrantless search of vehicles. And I don't have time to really get into them a lot this week, so I just want to touch on this real fast, and we will, I promise, discuss it more next week. But a lot of people were asking me about it, so I went back and I actually read the opinion of the court, because I think, just like a piece of legislation, we can't just read what people tell us that the bill says or what the news tells us that a bill says. We actually need to do our own work. So anyway, and honestly, you shouldn't even probably take my word for it. Do your own work. But I read the decision. There's a lot of banter. Does this tamper with our Fourth Amendment rights? Does it align with what the Supreme Court has decided regarding warrantless search of vehicles? And it's really interesting. The case that actually led to this decision, I think, is very intriguing and will really enlighten you. But I'm going to leave it at that. I'm just teasing a little bit of what we're going to talk about next week. Also next week, we're going to have Tom and possibly Deneen Borelli are going to be joining us. Deneen might have a conflict, but we'll definitely have her husband Tom here with us, so really looking forward to that. But, okay, back to the news. Senator Ed Markey, a Democrat from Massachusetts, and Representative Hakeem Jeffries, a Democrat from New York, have introduced a bill called the Hate Crime Reporting Act of 2014. This bill would, quote, create an updated, comprehensive report examining the role of the Internet and other telecommunications in encouraging hate crimes based on gender, race, religion, ethnicity, or sexual orientation, and create recommendations to address such crimes. So this is a one-page bill. Basically, it calls for the Justice Department and the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights to analyze information. This is what the bill's going to do, quote, on the use of telecommunications, including the Internet, broadcast television and radio, cable television, public access television, commercial mobile services, and other electronic media to advocate and encourage violent acts and the commission of crimes of hate. So basically, the feds now want the power and the authority to scour the Internet and all forms of media, including new media, for anything that they might deem to be hate speech. But the bill does not define which actions by broadcasters or bloggers or tweeters could be considered to have encouraged this violence, seemingly leaving all that open to interpretation. Which begs the question, who then gets to interpret what hate is? And what about the First Amendment? Should we just get rid of that completely? Is that just a bad idea that's had its time? And in a society where the lines between hate and personal beliefs are so easily blurred, I mean, this is just downright frightening. And is it just me, or does it seem like this is, some Obama pals throwing a hissy fit over Fox News? Maybe it's just me, or maybe not. But even the Boston Herald had problems with this. They said it was frankly chilling that we are looking to, quote, empower an obscure federal agency to begin scouring the internet, TV, and radio for speech it finds threatening. Yeah, because giving them power over our healthcare went so well, we should let them determine what we can and cannot say. I'm sure that's going to go great. Okay, tomorrow night, Tuesday, May 6th, Focus on the Family is going to unveil its first ever in-theater documentary called Irreplaceable. It's a feature-length film exploring the questions, what is family, and does family still matter in today's society? My dad bought my entire family tickets to go see this thing. I cannot wait. I'm excited about it. It's hosted by this guy named Tim Sizerick, who was the former executive director of Focus on the Family in New Zealand, so also another fantastic accent. And it follows him as he travels the world, exploring what family really means and why family and the family unit is important to humanity. And he discovers, why all humans have a yearning to be in a family and to be part of something bigger than themselves, hence the irreplaceable aspect. Because, in our culture, the word family has pretty much lost its meaning. I mean, we got divorce, crime, poverty, addictions, abuse. All of these things can be traced back to failures in the family unit. Not saying that all of them are, but, well, you follow me. And when we attempt to redefine the family, we tend to make these problems, societal problems, worse, not better. Because when the family is weakened, society suffers. It's just the way it is. But strong families, they make the world a better place. And that's what Irreplaceable is about. The documentary is supposedly very good. I haven't seen it yet, but I've seen previews. I've heard a lot of reviews. It looks excellent. If you want to go, it's irreplacablethemovie.com. You can get tickets there, trailers. It's only playing one day in select theaters tomorrow night, May 6th. So look that up. All right. Donald Sterling. I got to touch on this. So racism is evil, period, the end. Right? Last week, we all heard Donald Sterling, the owner of the NBA's Los Angeles Clippers, he made headlines for racist comments that he made to his mistress during an argument that the two were having. This lady, she recorded the conversation and Sterling's on it, reprimanding her for bringing black individuals to Clippers games and posting pictures of herself with African Americans on Instagram. He also told her, though, that it was fine if she slept with them, just not to bring them around him and his organization. So in short, Donald Sterling's comments were disgusting, abhorrent, and evil. No one is questioning this. And the NBA swiftly responded. They banned Sterling from the association for life and fined him $2.5 million. And honestly, because the NBA is a private organization, this action is not a violation of his First Amendment rights. That said, though, could this be setting a very dangerous precedent? Mr. Sterling made these remarks in the privacy of his own home, and they were recorded illegally. Right? Because in California, you are not allowed to record someone without their knowledge of it. But has our culture become such that what you do in your bedroom is your own personal affair and no one anywhere can ever question or judge you for that? Unless, of course, what you do in your bedroom is have a personal conversation with a friend who illegally records what you say. I mean, and if that happens, then the court of public opinion will be both your judge and jury, and your livelihood is now in jeopardy. I mean, Donald Sterling represents the wrongs of the past. All right, but his mistress represents the dangers of our future, when even the people closest to us cannot be trusted to protect our privacy, when we can be recorded by anyone at any time, and that recording, whether legal or not, can be used to destroy our livelihood. That's scary. We hoot and holler about the NSA. We don't want the government spying on us. But then we go and we cheer on this woman who effectively spied on Sterling. Again, clearly, the man was wrong. His comments were repulsive. But how is it that we fail to recognize as a culture the danger of catapulting ourselves down the slippery slope of no one ever offending anyone no matter what? At what point is it that everyone having to conform with no dissent is okay? Have we gone from live free or die to conform or die? I mean, in America today, do you have the right to be wrong? Not necessarily legally wrong, as clearly, Sterling is still a free man, but culturally, is it acceptable to have an opinion, even if that opinion is vile and disgusting? And then, take it a step further, who is it that actually determines what is acceptable to a society and what is not? I mean, the message our culture is sending our kids is this: if you have an opinion, right, wrong, or otherwise, that's fine, but you better keep it to yourself. Just be like everybody else, and it'll all be fine. If you want to pray, that's fine, but keep it to yourself. If you believe marriage is best between a man and a woman, that's fine, but keep it to yourself. Well, what happened to difference of thought and opinion? What happened to diversity in our culture? Again, I'm not arguing for racism. I'm not arguing on behalf of Donald Sterling. I'm trying to present a bigger picture of where our culture is headed. I mean, and in addition to all of that, one has to question where the NBA draws the line on what they believe is moral or not. They apparently have zero problem with immorality on display at their actual games, having allowed Sterling to attend basketball games flanked by his wife on one side and his mistress on the other. I mean, that repulsive side is apparently fine. It's okay to broadcast a message of cheating on your wife to our young people, but if you have a private conversation, you are done. I mean, imagine for a minute if anyone ever recorded a locker room conversation. I mean, would we be getting rid of entire teams? And is it okay if certain words are used by certain people depending on which color they are? Or is it just the words themselves that are evil? Or is it how the words are used? I mean, and Sterling has lived a revolting, repulsive life publicly. Not only has he made far more racist comments in the past, he denied housing to blacks, saying that they smell and attract vermin, and that's a quote, but his treatment of women has been anything but moral. But no one felt the need to do an expose on that one. I mean, did we really expect a man with no morals to act in a moral fashion? NBA legend Kareem Abdul-Jabbar wrote an op-ed for Time, and in it he said, if we're all going to be outraged, let's be outraged that we weren't more outraged when his racism was first evident. Let's be outraged that private conversations between people in an intimate relationship are recorded and publicly played. Let's be outraged that whoever did the betraying will probably get a book deal, a sitcom, trade recipes with Kathy Lee, and soon appear on Celebrity Apprentice and Dancing with the Stars. And how right is that? I mean, we've thrust this woman into the spotlight. She's now a heroine of some kind, and it's just ridiculous. Then we had this guy, did you see this? This Josh Olin? What organization is he with? Hang on a second. Turtle Rock Studios, manager there, an independent game developer. He tweeted on April 30th, after this all happened, he said, here's an unpopular opinion. Donald Sterling has the right as an American to be an old bigot in the security of his own home. When you were raised in an era where segregation was perceived as right, that will stick with some people. Don't make him a monster. Subsequently, he was fired from Turtle Rock Studios because they no way endorse or support those views. So, again, do you now in America have the right to be wrong? And do you have the right to say that you think that someone else is being treated incorrectly for their behavior without fear of losing your own job? I mean, it is ridiculous where our culture is headed with this nonsense of always having to please everyone, always, as long as it's what the group thinks, then we're fine. But don't waver from the group think. I mean, that is such a dangerous road towards communism. I can't even... All right, so Alan West, though, in my opinion, he had the most appropriate response to this whole issue. He wrote an article that he published on his website called Folks, You're Missing the Point on Donald Sterling. And in it, he said this: have we come to a point in America where being a jerk is grounds for confiscation of private property? It was Englishman John Locke who first proposed that individual rights as granted under natural law were life, liberty, and property. It was Thomas Jefferson who, in the American Declaration of Independence, used that paradigm to propose our unalienable rights from our Creator being life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Sterling's comments were repulsive, but they were stated in the privacy of his own home. Have we come to the point that private conversations can be taped and released in the public domain in order to ruin the livelihood, the pursuit of happiness, of private citizens? Miss Stiviano, his mistress, or whomever, knew exactly what they wanted the end result to be as they released this tape to TMZ. Is this the new normal, he asks. Is this a violation of our privacy rights? Okay, so what types of conversations occur in the privacy of the NBA locker rooms or the homes of the players? Yes, this is indeed a slippery slope, as Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban asserted. And he concludes his article with the statement, Sterling is a jerk, an unlikable fella, but is he guilty of a crime that demands his property be confiscated? No. And we're going to a break. Stick with us. We'll be right back with Sean Hannity's Hair coming up.
You're on the 405. Thank you for shopping Amazon.com. When you do, that makes you a sponsor of the 405 Media. Click on the Amazon banner on top of our homepage. Then shop. Simple. It costs you nothing. When you think Amazon, click one more time on the 405media.com, then on the Amazon banner. Thank you. Voces Latinas.
Rubio has a 100% rating from AFP. He has like a 97% rating from Heritage. He votes wildly conservative, more conservative than 98% of senators on 98% of the issues. Why fire Rubio over one issue?
Voces Latinas, live, only on the 405media.com.
We don't want to fire Rubio over one issue.
We had 40 Hispanics walking around, and all they see, they don't, is pink slip Rubio, pink slip Rubio. Pink slip to me is fire.
Voces Latinas, Mondays 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific, only on the 405media.com.
But is it strategically smart to publicly heckle and call him a traitor? Rubio was lambasted publicly by Limbaugh. Michelle Malkin screams shamnesty like it's her job. I mean, shamnesty, shamnesty. Air your grievances with Rubio all you want, but I can't help it when I work with the Latino youth community trying to make them conservative, bring them to the conservative movement, and they're all like, well, Rubio's the only one that cares about us, and they hate him. They yell shamnesty at him.
You're on the 405.
This is Tammy Jackson inviting you to join me on the Tammy Jackson Show every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. on the 405media.com. Put down that remote and tune into the show that covers politics, guns and the Second Amendment, religious liberty, sanctity of life, the military, and more. I host newsworthy guests and work hard to be a conservative radio show that is not like all the others. So save Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific from me, Tammy Jackson, on the 405media.com.
We are a bold and active voice for the unborn. We are Audio Girl Ministries, saving the lives of babies by helping moms in crisis pregnancies get past the crisis. How? Free ultrasound imaging so the woman can see the life she's carrying, and by supplying her with essential baby items, diapers, clothes, food, crib, car seat, all given with a loving and caring heart. Want to help? Log on to AudioGirlMinistries.com and make a tax-deductible donation. AudioGirlMinistries.com. Thanks.
CSC Talk Radio is proud to be a part of 405media.com.
Listen to Beth Ann and Common Sense Conversations Talk Radio, weeknights, 8 p.m. and 1 a.m. Eastern, here on the 405media.com.
This is Brandon Darby. You're listening to the 405 Radio.
And we're back on the Friddle Show on the 405 Radio. Thanks, everyone, for being with us. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back tonight to the Friddle Show, Sean Hannity's Hair. Oh, my gosh.
Hello, And hello, Hair Nation. How's everybody doing tonight?
Seriously?
What? You don't like my intro music?
I think your intro music is awesome. How did you do that?
I know people. I have my own studio, Hair Nation Studio.
You have a Hair Nation studio? I see. Is my producer in with you on that? Oh, is it in a bunker somewhere? I'm
not allowed to disclose that. But how are you doing tonight? Great show so far. Thanks for having me back on.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it. You know what? You called in the other week. I felt terrible because I had no time left for you guys by the time I actually got to callers. And I thought, hey, we got to have Hair back again. We'll give you an actual guest segment for real and see what we can do. So, dude, Benghazi, that was 2 years ago.
I know, right? I mean, that was, I almost choked down my water when I was watching Brett Baer the other night. That right there tells you that he's not ready for prime time. Many of Obama's people that helped him on the campaign, young people, they might know a lot about social media and getting the folks all stirred up and getting the vote out. But putting him in a position of National Security Council spokesman, I mean, maybe I don't know much about his background, but he seems kind of young to hold such a position.
Well, it seemed the first thing I thought of was, okay, so you grew up on Full House and saw a lot of Michelle saying, you got it, dude. But beyond that, where nobody even says dude anymore, let alone the aspect of how inconsiderate and just revolting it is that he's referring to, the death of our ambassador and 3 others as dude 2 years ago.
Well, he's on a national news program. Regardless of what he thinks about Fox News, it's a very well-respected program. Mm-hmm. And to use that language and just flippant as he was, it was mind-boggling. And now, he's gone on his more comfy surroundings, MSNBC, with Chris Hayes, and he's just downplaying it, saying that, I didn't know I couldn't use that kind of language. You got to speak the Queen's language, I believe, was the comment he made on Fox News.
Yeah, well, I mean, if his boss, if our president can refer to the Republican budget as a mean witch and then use the word stink burger, I guess, we're not setting the bar real high for this administration.
No, we're not. And everything starts at the top. And if your boss is acting in a certain way, then you feel empowered to act in a similar way. It's mind-boggling that we, the people, have to put up with this nonsense, and all we want is answers. Right. They act like they've been giving us answers, and the email, Ben Rhodes' email, only came out because of the lawsuit. Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, and how is it that they couldn't produce that? I mean, obviously they've had that. And then I heard, I don't know if you were tuned into, who was it? I think it was Hannity's radio show the other week. He had a guest on. It wasn't even a guest. It was just some random caller had called in and was with some security firm and was like, dude, well, no, he didn't say dude. See, now you got me saying dude. He said, you got to see the video. America needs to see the video. So apparently there is video footage of this whole thing that shows there was no protest.
Well, it's clear that it wasn't a protest. It wasn't spontaneous. But that's again, probably half of America doesn't care anymore. The people that voted for Obama just want to move on. And it was 2 years ago. But the problem is, if you would have given us these answers that we're seeking 2 years ago, then we'd be moving on to something else, maybe something productive like creating jobs.
Yeah, and quite frankly, we could have a completely different administration if that had been the case, which you have to wonder, is that why we weren't given anything? And it's hard to not think that that was the case the more and more information that we receive. And
everybody's focusing on this email and the appearance on on Brett Baer's show. But, okay, I'll give them. I'll make concessions that, okay, you have an election, we got to spin it. We would do the same. We would want to make it look, I don't want to say we'd blame it on a video, but we would want to mold it and shape it to make it look as best we could because we want to win the election. I'll give them that. I understand that. But what I really need to understand is why even we had advance warning that there was trouble in the region. Why didn't we have security, enough security, or get them the heck out of there to begin with? We were the last remaining he was the last remaining ambassador there. Britain, they took their guy out, I think, the prior summer. So
right.
It boggles the mind that these folks, we weren't prepared. I mean, 9/11. I mean,
right. Well, and not only that, but we had troops that were capable of getting there and potentially averting most of this crisis, and someone told them to stand down. And I think that's really what it boils down to. Where did that order come from? Did that ever even get to Hillary? It's hard to not think that it didn't, but, I mean, should we give her the benefit of the doubt in this situation?
And that's another major question that has to be answered. Even if it's not as strong as telling someone to stand down, someone made a decision not to send help.
Right, and I know somebody had said, well, they didn't tell us to stand down. We didn't tell them to stand down. We told them not to go. Well, it's basically the same thing. I mean, it is the same thing.
So that, I mean, if I'm there under attack and I call for help, I mean, try to imagine the feeling when you think help is coming and they never come.
Help never comes, yeah. That, to me, is just unbelievable.
And where are the witnesses?
Mm-hmm.
There were I don't remember the exact count, but like 30-some witnesses that we're not, the Congress is not allowed to interview. Why? Well, what are you hiding? If all the information's out there, and this is just a dog and pony show, well, fine, let us talk to these people.
What do you think of Trey Gowdy and the committee now? Do you think he's the right guy for the job? Do you think he'll get anywhere?
I think Trey Gowdy is the perfect pick to lead this committee. He is a former, I guess he's still an attorney. He's never lost a case, is what I understand. So, and not sure about his hair, but who am I to talk about that? But he is a guy that is not going to take no for an answer, and he will press and press and press until he gets what he needs.
Yeah, and I'd like to see him get to those witnesses. Even if it's not 30 of them, 3 witnesses, 1 witness, anybody that was there that actually saw what was going on that can testify before Congress. I mean, that's what Congress is there for. I mean, they don't just pass laws and impose all kinds of garbage upon us. Their job is to protect us and to protect our embassies and citizens overseas.
Exactly. And Mark Thiessen made an excellent point tonight on Megyn Kelly's show. I was multitasking, sorry.
That's okay.
He made a point that the White House can clear up this whole thing by releasing the daily security briefings.
Yeah, true.
For some reason, again, if there's nothing to hide, if they're saying it's a video, then why not release the information that Obama was briefed on every single day? Because they know the answer, because it was not about the video. That's another question. Who introduced the video into the narrative?
That's a great question.
Nobody answers that question. The CIA said, not us. And earlier today on Hannity's show, Sally Cohn was on, and he kept, the guest host was Dan, what's his last name? Bongino was pressing Sally, and she would not answer. She kept tap dancing around it, and that's a lot of the response we get from the left is tap dancing. They change the subject. They don't answer it. Yeah,
well, and they act like little kids that were caught in a lie, and I'm sure you probably never did this. I know I never did because I was a perfect child, but...
No, I lied a lot as a kid.
Okay. I did sometimes. All right, I'll confess. I did every once in a while. But, you tell that one little lie, which then requires you to tell another lie to cover up that one, and it just grows and grows and grows. What a tangled web we weave. And now we have this whole mess and this web of deception just covering this whole issue. And, I hope that Trey Gowdy and this commission can get to the bottom of it. It would be fantastic, I think, if they could get to it, this year. I'm not sure if that's possible, but if they could get it done somehow this year, and not even for political purposes, but for those families and for our country, I think that we need to know. We need to have answers.
I agree. And the latest argument coming from the left is the only reason we're pursuing this is to attack Hillary, to make her less of a candidate for 2016. Well, hello, we've been at this for 2 years. Yeah. We didn't care about Hillary, her presidential run 2 years ago. So right. the answers we're getting are changing. So it makes sense. That's their latest argument. But it's if they just gave us the information, we would have been on to bigger and better things right now. Yep, it's very true. And the fact of the matter is, there's other scandals out there that are getting ignored, like the IRS. Yeah, it's still kind of out there, but not getting the focus I think it needs. Yeah, I agree. But the fact with this one is, the 3 a.m. phone call came, and nobody was there to answer. And that's the ad that they ran with in that election cycle previous to this whole catastrophe. And so I feel like it's kind of come back to bite them now. You're reaping what you sow, and this is what they sowed, and now they're going to reap it. One other thing we learned was Obama was not in the Situation Room. Mm-hmm. And he was in, Tommy Vietor accidentally, I suppose, mentioned that he didn't have a pager on him or a GPS on him in the White House residence. Well, hello, I guess that's where he was. But yeah. I heard over the weekend that somebody reviewed the White House visitor logs and determined that there were 3 visitors in there helping Obama prep for his next debate with Romney. I don't know if you heard that. I didn't hear that. I heard it. I can't remember where I heard it. It was on probably Fox News. Mm-hmm. And I'm surprised it's not getting more play because we all want to know where he was that night specifically. We know he was not in the Situation Room. And that would make sense why they're shielding him, not being specific where he was, what he was doing. Right. Yeah, no, that would make a whole lot of sense. And we all saw the catastrophe that was the first debate, so obviously he needed some help. But that was not the time to be prepping for a debate while our embassy is under attack and Americans are dying. That's just outrageous. Imagine if a Republican were president right now. Oh my goodness, the optics. And again, I understand coming from their perspective why they want to hide this. Yep. But it's a slow leak, and I hope to get to the bottom of all of this. My guess, after Obama leaves office, is going to be a race to see who can get the first book out and get that $1 million payday on this very issue. Those in the know, like Ben Rhodes, Tommy Vietor, those that were there. Right now, they're playing Laurel Puppy. Yeah, for sure. And that will be very interesting to see. All right, we're coming up on a hard break. I have to take it. Harry, can you stick around with us? Maybe have some fun, take some calls. Next segment? Sure, I'd be glad to. Awesome. Okay, stick with us. We'll be right back. Harry's here to take your calls. It is 877-297-8022. If you want to call, talk to me, talk to Harry, ask questions, comments, anything. We'll be here. We'll be right back.
You're on the 405. Thank you for shopping Amazon.com. When you do, that makes you a sponsor of the 405 Media. Click on the Amazon banner on top of our homepage. Then shop. Simple. It costs you nothing. When you think Amazon, click one more time on the 405media.com, then on the Amazon banner. Thank you. Off the Grid.
And he's also the only person I've ever seen that could write, "My dog just rolled over" on Facebook and get like 62 likes.
I'm also, just a correction, I'm the best looking person in social media, too.
Off the Grid with Matt Hochman and Beckett Adams.
You have men in the United States Army running for cover and hoping the police show up.
You know, the base is a soft target that's filled with brave Americans, but they got their hands tied.
I'm sure the jihadists completely consider it a soft target. It's like a shopping mall, or like you said, a school. It's probably worse than a shopping mall, because at least here in Arizona, you're allowed to carry.
In several of these shootings, Jared Lautner in Arizona, the Sandy Hook shooting, a number of these shootings always involved somebody who was desperately unhealthy in the head, but for some reason the argument always turns into, get away from my gun. What can we do to maybe help people like this?
Wednesdays, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific, only on the 405media.com.
On the 405.
Gang of 405 here on the 405 Radio.
Good morning, John. Morning, Scott.
Scott, what's going on in your life?
Do you really want to know?
You were never a nobody. Who are you trying to kid?
Oh, shut up.
They put these people in charge of organizations that have never been in charge of anything else as far as I can tell, and they perform abysmally.
Do you think that after everything that's happened, there's any way in hell that a single-payer system would be implemented while Barack Obama is still in office?
I'm going to take my surliness and go find those individual people that were just on that tape there and hunt them down this weekend just to solve it for you guys, okay?
Dr. Gruber sounds like the epitome of an elitist who's tucked away in his tenured position at a university far, far, far away from real life of real people.
The original and classic Gang of 405, Saturdays 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific on the 405media.com.
You're on the 405.
This is Tammy Jackson inviting you to join me on The Tammy Jackson Show every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. on the 405media.com. Put down that remote and tune into the show that covers politics, guns and the Second Amendment, religious liberty, sanctity of life, the military, and more. I host newsworthy guests and work hard to be a conservative radio show that is not like all the others. So save Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific from me, Tammy Jackson, on the 405media.com.
The 405 Media is on Blurt. Check out our homepage, the405media.com. Click on the Get Blurt banner, then install on your smartphone or tablet. Get audio alerts from the 405 Media on upcoming programs and events. Blurt and the 405media.com.
Hi, this is retired Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, and you're listening to the 405 Radio.
And welcome back. You are listening to the Friddle Show on the 405 Radio. We have Sean Hannity's here has graciously agreed to stay with us and take your calls, answer your questions. So he is here now, and we actually already have a caller on the line. So, caller, can you give us your name?
My name is Lady Elizabeth.
I love the accent. So where are you from?
I'm from Birmingham, England.
Oh, okay.
You sound like you got a little bit of an Ohio accent.
No. Well, you know what? I've lived in Ohio for the past few years, but I was born and raised in Birmingham, England, and I moved here when I turned 18, which was just a couple of months ago.
Everyone, please welcome Lady Elizabeth to the Friddle Show.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate
Wait, she doesn't get like some massive theme music like you had?
Well, you know, sorry about that.
I want some Irish dance music.
All right, so now, Elizabeth, people want to hear your real voice. Drop the accent. Thanks for calling in tonight.
I'm actually okay if you keep the accent, but, you know, it's hair segment, sort of, so.
So do you have any questions for us tonight?
I do. I want to know if you think, if Hillary Clinton has a shot at winning the 2016 presidential election.
I do. I think she's got a tremendous shot, only because going in, she's probably got, and I hate to use this number, 47% of the vote pretty much locked in. So we have to do what we can, get some of those Reagan Democrats to come over to our side, chip away at that 47%, get a few more to come our way, but more than anything, we need the right candidate. Don't ask me who. I have no idea, but we need somebody that has the right message, that can fight back, whether it's in a debate or just in an interview. We need the right candidate with the experience to take her down. Because if she wants it, she's got it.
I know you said not to ask who, but you can't do that. You got to pick who's your top three. Who do you like best? I won't make you do one, but I want your top three.
Well, Ted Cruz probably tops the list. Mm-hmm. Paul would be in the top three probably. And then it's tough after that. I mean, I think we need, and you might be surprised with my Rand Paul choice. I just think domestically, I mean, I'm picking and choosing at this point. I mean, our foreign policy is a mess. Our economy is a mess. I'd be happy if we can just get the economy straightened out at this point.
Yeah, I agree. So, okay, Lady Elizabeth, while we have you here with us, since you're part of the whole Hair Nation thing, I have heard and seen my Twitter timeline has been blowing up all day because I somehow got tagged on this thing with Hair, where apparently he has been instituting some kind of Twitter war on women today and like unfollowing all these people or something. Do you know anything about that?
I don't know much, but my mom, she's part of the Hair Nation, and she mentioned something about how he unfollowed her today. And I've already had, him harass me with different things, so I didn't want to be part of that because I was afraid he would unfollow me. So that's
smart
the only
lady.
answer I can give you.
Very smart lady, Elizabeth. Well, I can give you a little background on this, Friddle. Some of the ladies were getting a little mouthy, and I had to show them who's boss.
Oh, all right.
And I think the comment that came in
this is a family show.
I know. But you had me on anyway.
But I had you on anyway, that is true.
So, there was one complaint or comment, not a complaint, that I follow a lot of women. I was like, you're right. So I unfollow a bunch of them.
Ah, I see. Well then, Lady Elizabeth, it appears that you are very wise to not always interact with Hair. Yeah. But, hey, whatever happened to the Hair Nation top 10 list? Like, that, comes and goes. Why is this so subjective? And how do you rank on this list?
The list, it's not my top 10 of all time. It's based on the last week, the prior week. It's meant to be fun, but some take it too seriously. And there are some hurt feelings because they weren't in the top 10. Yet these people, we're all busy. They haven't communicated with me in the past week or so, and they didn't make the list. So I really, it's about volume. It's about the content of the tweets for the past week, and it's just a vibe. There's no set rules. I make the rules, as I see it. Who made my top 10? And the reason I stopped it because there were a few folks that their feelings got hurt, and it's like it's not worth it. It's meant to be fun.
Okay, all right. Well, I guess we'll accept that as an answer.
But maybe I'll revisit that, and it was very popular. People enjoyed it, but I just didn't want any hurt feelings. I do have heart, believe it or not.
You do. You are actually a wonderful person, especially in person. So, yeah. So, Lady Elizabeth.
Yes.
This is your first time listening to the show, I think I just saw on Twitter, yes?
It is.
What do you think so far?
I think it's awesome, and I think you are so smart, and I am even more educated now than I was before I started listening, which is always good.
Awesome. I actually wasn't fishing for a compliment. Do you have any suggestions for things you'd like to see differently, or anything you would wish that you had heard when you tuned in?
No, I loved it.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to call.
Bye, Elizabeth.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Bye, Hare.
Bye. Okay, Hare, let's... All right, again, if you are waiting, you want to call in, talk to Hare, have anything fun to say, or ask him why he has unfollowed you today, the number is 877-297-8022. Okay, in the meantime, Hare, let me see. I know we had a couple, actually quite a few. Let's go, Skylar, our good friend, returned to 1776 on Twitter. She wants to know, is Sean Hannity's Hare a whiner or a loser?
Well, that's
Would you like to answer that, or would you like me to answer that?
Well, I did happen to. You can answer, but I'll just comment that she also fell into that list of women that I unfollowed today. After seeing that tweet, I quickly took action.
Well, I think it was kind of a pun on what I titled tonight's show on Whiners and Losers, because I was doing Sterling and the whole dude issue with Benghazi. So I feel like it was kind of a pun-ish type thing, but I can see how that could be somewhat hurtful. Yeah.
Oh, I have thick skin. No worries.
But I would say you're neither a whiner or a loser.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, I think we have another caller on the line. Caller, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. Who do we have with us now?
This is Adam.
This is Adam. Hey, Adam, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Adam, how you doing? Good talking to you.
Good to talk to you guys.
Cool, so what's up?
Hey, wanted to just comment on a couple things with Benghazi. I am pretty happy that Cheryl Atkinson has shed light on this situation and made it into a pretty good story that someone else besides Fox is covering.
Yeah, she has really done a great job in my mind. I mean, she's not, I don't know if she's working for anybody other than making appearances on Fox that I've seen. And she has been like a pit bull and won't let go of this issue. And we all, as Americans, should thank her for that.
I agree.
So, Adam, are you Adam as in AGDOWIK on Twitter?
That's me.
Outstanding. We got to meet up someday.
Absolutely.
So, what else you have for us tonight?
Sorry, I missed you guys down at CPAC.
Yeah, were you there?
That's right. No, it was not.
He had some. He was planning on going, as I recall, but some had some work obligations that he had to tend to, and work comes first. I was lucky to be able to get the few days off, and so I can hang out with a bunch of friends.
Yeah, it was good. It was a lot of fun. It was great to see a lot of the different Twitter people there. And Adam, hopefully, did you plan on going next year?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, look forward to seeing you there. Was there anything else you wanted to share with us?
One other thing. I like all your choices for a presidential candidate. Do you believe a senator is right to lead this country next, or someone who has governing experience like a Scott Walker or a Nikki Haley or a Bobby Jindal?
I don't know Hare's opinion on this. Personally, I think we could do either one, but I do see your point, and I like the executive experience of someone that is coming from like a governorship. I think we're kind of seeing what can happen when we bring in someone that doesn't have a lot of experience with the executive side of things right now. But yeah, I like Bobby Jindal a lot. I also like Rick Perry. I think he's really coming into his time right now. Just eons beyond where he was in the last presidential campaign. He is just on fire right now. So I would be very happy with either him or Governor Jindal, or even Nikki Haley, quite frankly. So, Hare, do you have any comment?
I actually like Walker. I agree.
Yes, I'm Walker. Yep, there are quite a few good ones right now.
I think governors do tend to, with their experience, make the better presidents in history.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I
even
agree.
Bill Clinton, former governor of Arkansas.
Yep.
I mean, did we agree with everything? I would take Bill Clinton today in a heartbeat over Barack Obama. I mean,
absolutely.
Anybody remember the economy back then?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was much better than today.
That is very true. All right. Hey, Adam, thank you so much for giving us a call.
Thanks, Adam, and talk to you soon.
Yep.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, Friddle, we have a late-breaking Ask Friddle.
Is it the one from Julia?
You might want to ask that.
All right. Yeah, I just saw that one. Told her I would ask it before we go to our last break here. So, Julia at JK__ Porterfield on Twitter wants to know, who is Sean Hannity's hair current number one?
Well, that's a tough one. Again, going back to my answer that I don't want to hurt any feelings.
It's okay. You can hurt feelings. It's all right.
It's I don't want to say who it's not, because then, Julia is a very special member of Hair Nation, but I can't say she's currently number one.
All right, so who is it?
I can't say.
You can't say.
I haven't sat down and tabulate. I mean, the last one was from a few weeks ago was Bethany Bower, but I haven't done it in a few weeks. So maybe if I get enough people, wanting it to come back, I'll do it again. But as of right now, I haven't given it much thought.
Okay. That's fair. All right, so we're going to have to go to a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap it up. Harry, you want to stay with us and we'll close out the night?
Certainly.
All right, we'll be right back.
You're on the 405.
Thank you for shopping Amazon.com. When you do, that makes you a sponsor of the 405 Media. Click on the Amazon banner on top of our homepage. Then shop. Simple. It costs you nothing. When you think Amazon, click one more time on the 405media.com, then on the Amazon banner. Thank you. Voces Latinas.
Rubio has a 100% rating from AFP. He has like a 97% rating from Heritage. He votes wildly conservative, more conservative than 98% of senators on 98% of the issues. Why fire Rubio over one issue?
Voces Latinas, live, only on the 405media.com.
We don't want to fire Rubio over one issue.
We had 40 Hispanics walking around, and all they see, is pink slip Rubio, pink slip Rubio. Pink slip to me is fire.
Voces Latinas, Mondays, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific, only on the 405media.com.
But is it strategically smart to publicly heckle and call him a traitor? Rubio was lambasted publicly by Limbaugh. Michelle Malkin screams shamnesty like it's her job. I mean, shamnesty, shamnesty. Air your grievances with Rubio all you want. But I can't help it when I work with the Latino youth community trying to make them conservative, bring them to the conservative movement, and they're all like, well, Rubio's the only one that cares about us, and they hate him. They yell shamnesty at him.
You're on the 405.
This is Katie Pavlich. You're listening to the 405 Radio.
And welcome back to the Friddle Show. We are wrapping things up for the evening. Sean Hannity's hair has been our guest tonight. Hair, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. Before I let you go, I just wanted to run by you. I'm sure you've seen, it's been all over social media especially, that there is a crowdfunding happening right now for the Gosnell movie.
Yes.
And it has blasted all kinds of crowdfunding records out of the water, and yet the mainstream media is not covering this at all.
Well, shocking that they're not covering it, but the reason we have to do this in this way is to raise the funds outside of the normal channels, is because Hollywood isn't going to put a dime towards this.
It's true.
So I haven't seen lately, but last I heard is we haven't met the goal yet.
Right.
But, I encourage everybody to log in to GosnellMovie.com, and anything will help.
Yeah, and especially, just our culture right now is just so disgusting, where we have a botched execution, which is a, quote, human rights failure, but a botched abortion is apparently a women's rights victory or something. I don't even know. But we have one more caller. I'm going to let them on real quick here before we go for tonight. Thanks for calling in. What's your name?
This is Red Pickle. Friddle, how are you?
Hey, Red Pickle. I'm doing well. How are you?
Red Pickle, how are you?
Oh, see, he's talking to me now. He started unfollowing me today, so I was curious to see if I called in, if he would talk to me.
Absolutely. I might refollow everybody later. I just, I broke a nail earlier by unfollowing everybody. I got to get that fixed.
Well, I just was curious because 2 of your qualifications for being part of, the top 10 of Hair Nation is to be A, engaged, and B, snarky. And all of the ladies that you unfollowed meet those qualifications. So is this one of those things where you want to have your cake and eat it too?
Well, Miss Snarky.
My brother has a great quote about that. I'm just going to interject that real quick. He said, it is possible to have your cake and eat it too. You just need 2 cakes. So go ahead.
That's a good idea. Well, if I was doing if I was doing the Hair Nation top 10 right now, I mean, you guys you get serious consideration. Now, I hope everybody understands it was all in fun today. I wasn't upset. I might come off a little gruff at times, angry hair, but, I was just having fun with everybody today.
All right. Well, I had to call in and speak up for the ladies. So, I mean, although I know another person had already called in and stuff like that, but I was calling in for the more feisty side, I guess.
Got it. Hey, thank you so much for taking the time to call in, Red.
All right. Night.
All right. Good night. All right. So, Hair, I think I just need to but explain this a little bit for all of our listeners who aren't maybe on Twitter. So, you are not actually Sean Hannity's hair, obviously. His hair does not talk, for one thing. But you have this, what's called a handle on Twitter, but your username basically is Sean Hannity's hair. And you have this massive Twitter following. So when I have you on the show, it pretty much becomes kind of a all Twitter all the time once we get past the actual, news segments. So, and I have some people, sending me texts and stuff saying, well, what is with this? What is all this Twitter stuff? So I just wanted to explain kind of to people what's happening is, I have a lot of listeners that are mutual friends of ours that really enjoy when you're on the show, and I appreciate you coming on as well. And in addition to that, I had you on tonight, and you know this, but just so our listeners get filled in, we are looking at going to an extra night, Tuesday nights, coming this summer. So I'll be on Monday and Tuesday, but on Tuesday nights, we're looking at doing something a little more relaxed, a little more conversational, which is why we're kind of testing that format tonight, having you stick around longer and just go back and forth rather than just the standard news, interview, ask Friddle, the end.
Exactly, and I majored in college in stirring up the masses, so it's been my pleasure hanging out with you tonight. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and so But I just wanted to clarify for everyone, this isn't necessarily normal. We're testing a few different things, see what works, see what doesn't. So, send me a tweet, hit me up on Facebook. You can email me if you want, info@crystalheath.com. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have other suggestions for if we go to a second night later this summer, what you'd like to see there, and we'll work on making that happen. But we have to wrap it up now for tonight. Thank you again, Hair, for being with us. Really appreciate it. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. Hair, you want to sign us out for the evening?
Hair Nation is out.
All right, have a great week, everyone.
Let me go. I don't wanna be your hero. I don't wanna be your big man. I just wanna fight with everyone else. Your masquerade. I don't wanna be a part of your parade. Everyone deserves a chance to